Okay, hey everybody, this is Grace. And that was kind of loud, wasn't it? I want to do this because there's still some kids. Sunday, October 5th, 2025, 5:04 p.m. I think it's usually by about 5 or 6 parents with kids. They have their kids home because tomorrow's school day. No, they have school. So, boy. Anyway, we fed the crows and I told him to go ahead and go in. I'm going to take my time. And I am. I'm going to take my time to go in there. And plus, I don't want him around me. He distracts me. Oh, Adam. Oh, my goodness. You know, he's older than I. I mean, sometimes twice now. He's coming to me like right after I got in the store. Had one item or something like that in my shopping cart, and he'd go, "You ready to go yet? You ready to go yet?" I'm like, dude, no. Okay, you come in the wrong way. All right. Are you sure you don't want to back into it too? I know I'm being judgmental. This guy, he was parked over the line, so was the one on the other side of the shopping cart return, over the line. You know, they take their half out of the middle. Just in a different way. Okay. Anyway, good stuff. Hopefully I go in there. It is busy. I know that for a fact. Hopefully it's not super busy though. And this one is in Lucas, Texas. And we're just going, we're trying to figure out how much money we spend on just groceries. Just food stuff. You know, per month. Now anything else, you know, whatever else you would need, we want to see if to do that separately, pay for them separately, and so just to see how much is it per month now. I mean, it's not about the money. It's just we're curious. We have not done that. We've not really worried, you know, been too concerned. But one of the things I told him, I said, I'm kind of wondering. You know, every time we go to the grocery store, it's like $150, $200. And sometimes we go twice a week. And I'm like, something's not right. So, of course, he jumps on that. Yeah, something's not right. We gotta do it. Just curious, really. But anyway, I am really curious. Because, I mean, I remember when wow, I was on my own for a little while. I was taking care of my mom and stuff. And, I was buying, you know, when I wasn't with her, when I was with her, or when there was a transition and I wasn't with her, I was by myself, and then went back to take care of her. It was a long story. But basically, when I was by myself, sometimes, I don't even remember when it was, but my groceries were like $25 a week, you know? Yeah. A lot of people out here, let me tell you. Wow, I may have been totally wrong. Okay, what are you doing? Okay, he must be, he's around my age. He probably can't find his car. Because he's walking around with a shopping cart. We've been there, done that. I'm not judging. No. Been there, done. Oh, he parked over the line too. What is this with people parking, you know, over the line? You know, seriously. Well, he did have a big old case of beer, so kind of afraid to walk out there until he gets and leaves. Because he is like way over the line too. I mean, all of them way over the line. The person in front of him that's supposed to be parked there, backed up to him. You saw how close I was parked to that guy. Yeah, I'm not going to have mine sticking out because you parked over the line. Really? It's kind of hard to see the line, though, when you're driving in like this angle. Anyway. Uh-oh. Let's see how close they get to me. Maybe he won't. Maybe he won't. Go over the line, you got to. Okay, I'm had enough. I'm going in. Okay. Yeah, you see the birds coming. Adam's feeding more. He got one of those dollar loaves. He's out there feeding them. I don't know why he didn't get the ones that are already sliced. I don't know. But yeah, they're everywhere. Anyway, I did manage to walk it all. Yeah, I was real sick last month. Today's October 5th. I was pretty sick last month. I don't know what it was. Really don't. It's kind of like what I used to have when I was younger. The doctors would say it's allergies. You know, it knocked me out for like a week or two. Then before there was a little bit, and then after, just getting over it, you know. And this one, it was more a stomach thing. Could have been a stomach virus, you know. Look how they look. I'll focus on them. He's out feeding them like crazy here. And you see this one on the bottom. What is it? Adam said I should ask the AI. But anytime I go to try to take a picture of one to do it, they fly away. So, finish. Okay, we're home now. We went to McDonald's and I don't know what it's called because I tried to ask the guy about it, but I don't know. Neither one of us could understand what he was saying. And it wasn't like there was a language barrier. It's just the way that he was coming out. Okay, Adam came out with a, what are those things called? I don't know what you call them even. Neither one of us ever known what to call them, but you know, we had the wagon to get the groceries out of the back of our SUV. I bought it actually because I thought I was going to do food delivery, and for the health insurance, you know, that whole story. But he had already bought this one. Is, I don't know, it's a cart. It's upright. I mean, it's not a wagon. Anyway, I asked him how much was it. He said it was $133. So we're going to try for a month. I mean, we already had stuff left out, you know, stuff we had purchased. Today's the 5th. So we'll just see, you know, we'll try the best that we can. I don't know why, but he left the back door open, man. That man, I'm telling you. Okay, I got out and shut the back. Yeah. Anyway, you know, I'm in my SUV. I am tired, you know, because back whenever I had that heart failure that I wound up in the hospital, you know, I hadn't been well for a long while. Seriously, when that happened. It was my physical therapist who told me, you need to see your doctor about this. And I hadn't even noticed that I was so swollen. I mean, I knew that my edema was bad, but I didn't realize how bad I was until I was in the hospital ER. I took myself to there eventually, made it there, and Adam was on vacation with his brother, Sirius, his older brother. And I think he had just left that morning or the day before. Anyway, when I got to the ER and I looked down at my right knee, my brain was just fixated on it. I mean, seriously. Once the cardiologist came in, he said, I know exactly what all that is. He's a young guy. And wish we had more doctors like this. Seriously, I mean, actual doctors. Not actual doctors, I didn't say that actually. The specialists that you see outside of the ER. They're the ones that are supposed to be doing something besides running tests and not explaining them, not asking, just running, you know, they said one and the next thing you know, you got several. My insurance so far is great. I don't pay much. It's not about the money. It's never been about the money. The reason I didn't pay for it, I wanted to outright. She said, nope, in Texas, gotta work to get it. Okay, whatever. So anyway, that's why. Anyway, I'm a little distracted as usual because there's some kids out here. I hadn't seen the kids in the neighborhood, but my ankles right now are a little swollen. So let me get back to this part. You know, I've started to say at some point about that I was not using one of those electric shopping carts. I kept calling them electronic. I didn't know. Electric shopping carts. After that happened, that I had that heart failure, they just ER just said we're gonna give you some of this Lasix, and you're gonna pee a whole bunch. Said you don't want to leave, you know. And I said okay. And then I said then I go home. Some of my dad had a heart failure, and they kept him there. That was when I was young, and actually I think it was like 20, probably, no, I'd say 30 years before, because I think he was my age when it happened, or a little less. So say 25 years before. Now they just send them home, because that's what said. Now we just send people home. We give them this, we get some water off of them, we send them home, usually, unless it's something bigger. And he told me it was just a warning. Mine was just a warning. I'm like, okay, just a warning. But anyway, since then, off and on, I have had some trouble, you know, with my legs swelling up, you know, working since 2023, really, and part of 2024. Since then, working has been difficult. So, but anyway, I went back to work on Monday. Today's Sunday. Monday, nothing happening. So, but I have a different strategy this time. Anyway, so to get to this point, at some point I did have to start using that those electric shopping carts. I've mentioned this before. I was in a grocery store, and Adam was there, and he came back where I was. You know, we have our own shopping carts, and I had just stopped, and I said, look, I can't move. My body and my mind had said stop, and I just stopped right there. I mean, I wasn't feeling anything horrible or anything, but I just stopped right there. And I told him, I said, go get me one of those shopping carts. He said, no way. You're old enough. I think I mentioned this in this video earlier before we went shopping, right? Maybe it was in the one before then. But, you know, so I stood there for a while, you know, standing, you know, whatever. And then I went outside, you know, made it outside and got one of those. And since then it's been off and on. But right before I got sick in pretty much all, I would say, of September, I was doing fine. I was back to, you know, going to the grocery store, no problem, this and that. When we had that bad air quality, that's when I feel things. And it does seem to depend on the weather a lot. Of when I have shortness of breath or this or that. It just depends on so much on, like I said, the weather. Let's just say, sum it up as the weather, you know. But today, I you know, I went up there and I was determined to try and see what would happen. The other day, that same leg, the side of it, you know, the knee that I mentioned that I was just staring at, the leg on the side of it was swollen. I remember, and I have told these doctors that at another hospital back in 2023, they said that there was something going with this side, and that they just don't listen. I'm serious, they just don't listen. Or they just don't want to do anything but take tests. Take tests. I think I've mentioned on some video that I wound up speaking to some woman when I was in September when I wasn't well that works for them. And I was transferred to her or something like that. And I don't think they're located here, but in somewhere else. In Texas, though. And she looked at my medical records. She said, this should not be happening. She said, this doctor over here, she didn't name the name. She said, he runs this test, the other one runs this test, you know, right after it, and this one's got it scheduled. So this test is once, maybe twice a year. And then I said, what about this? And she said, that should not be happening. She said, we don't do that. No. I wish she would call all my doctors or send them all a note. Tell them that, because now I have to. All my providers, not just doctors. Like the doctor's nurse, and then, you know, you go, you see a doctor, and you also, they'll hook you to their nurse. You know, y'all gotta stop running all these tests. Plus, I'm anemic, and I did not know that. I just accidentally ran across it the other day, that anemics shouldn't, you know, I don't know the details. I'm not a healthcare provider, so I could be wrong. But apparently, anemics shouldn't be having so much blood test. I looked it up. I don't know if I'm right or not, though. But anyway, I did not want to say all this on this video, but you know, so I just felt like it. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'll talk to y'all in another video. Bye.